Right, if you get your spacer and your lock nut, sorry, dumbass, and just screw that on, and basically it's just finger tight. Same on the other shaft. Right, that's it for now. I'll just I'll knock you off a sec and get a couple of supports for this trapdoor. Right, we'll carry on putting some gears on. Right, next one to go on is your countershaft third gear. So I'll just put a bit of lube in the splines. And when you install this gear, the groove for the shifter fork is opposite the door. So just drop it down, line it up. Right, and the next step is get a snap ring on the main shaft, just above you where you've just put your first gear on. Main shaft first gear, that is. Right, just feed that down the shaft. Sure it's in properly. A little bit more lube and put it on your thrust washer. And then drop your thrust washer down on top of your snap ring that you've just put on. And then grab another split cage needle roller bearing, lube it up. Carefully wrap that round into its race, and then grab your main shaft third gear and just lube up the well, obviously the surface where it's going to run on the bearing. Be miles away then. Right, let's put that there for a second. Right, I'm just going to knock you off for a second and see what my missus wants. Right, back again. Right, where were we? Main shaft third. You've got your snap ring and your thrust washer on. Drop your, well, don't drop it, but place your bearing down over your split cage bearing. Should I say drop your gear down. Then get your other thrust washer. Drop your thrust washer down into the gear and grab another snap ring. Feed your snap ring down over your shaft. Just got a screwdriver for this. Push it down so that it's in place all the way around. Right, and then if you grab your main shaft second gear, lube up the splines as like on the others. And then drop that down. And that's your main shaft gears done. So your countershaft, what's left with your countershaft is snap ring to go on. Try and dry some of this oil off my fingers. Right. A little bit of lube on snap ring. I know I've just put oil back on my fingers, but I was a bit excessively covered in lube, so I just thought I'd clean some of it off. Right, just make sure it's fully in the groove. thrust washer. Just a little bit of lube on that. Drop that down, sit it over the top of the snap ring. Then you get your last split cage bearing. Lube that up. I don't know if you can hear that music. Someone's obviously having a disco in the car. I mean, the fact that I can hear it from here, they must be friggin' deaf. Right, so put your last split cage bearing in, and then get your countershaft second gear, lube the inner race up, or the inner face, where it's going to run on the split cage bearing. Lower that down, get it over the split cage bearing. And then get your countershaft fifth gear. Loop the splines up in it. Lower that down. Might as well lube that up while I'm at it. Right, and then on the countershaft you've just got your last snap ring to put on. Make sure it's all the way on properly. And basically that's your gear cartridge back together. So I'll just lift it off here. Right, I'll just knock you off for a sec. Right, I'm going to install the shifter pawl into the gearbox housing. So just lube the shaft up a bit. Now what I've done is I've run some electrical tape over the end where the splines are, just so it doesn't shred the oil seal on its way through. Now you don't want to wrap loads and loads and loads around it, because you'll end up not getting it through the oil seal, but just a couple of wraps around and it should go through, no bother. Right, so just push it into its goes a little bit tight because of the electrical tape. Right, and that went through no bother. So, spin around. Find the end of this tape. In fact, I think it'd be quicker to just cut it. Right, once you've got that through all the way, just get your washer, that over, get your circlip. I'll just find me circle pliers. Right, and now that's in, we'll push the gear cluster in. But first, I'll lube up some bearings. I'll just knock you off for a sec. I'm going to put some lube in the needle bearings in the 5th gear and the countershaft bearing. I'll come back when I'm done. Right, I've put a new gasket on the back of the trapdoor, and we'll now push the gear cluster into the box. So just carefully line everything up. Make sure your gasket's lining up with your dowel. Sure everything still turns. Right, what we'll do next is we'll feed some of these bolts in. finally, once you put your trapdoor in, you've got to remember that to put your exhaust bracket on. So, the bolts in. And just slowly tighten the two end ones up, just finger tightish, just to help press the trapdoor home over the dowels. I'll put that one in, but I won't be tightening it up because that's, if you remember when it was in, there's like a chrome cover that comes up and covers your oil pipes. That's one of the bolts that holds it on, and it's longer than a standard bolt, so I won't be tightening that one up. But when you do torque it up, obviously these bolts in the bottom are 5/16, and that's quarter, so the torque on them is more than what it is on that one. So right, I'll get my torque wrench. And it wants to be tightened up to 22 Newton meters. and then the quarter wants to be 12 Newton meters. And this one I'll tighten up once I've put the cover on, the chrome cover that covers the oil pipes that I've been on about. Right, make sure your gears are not locked together. You can rotate your and what I'll do, put a bit of lube on the gears. And give them a spin. Right, and now I'll lock together. Oh yeah. And I'll get a socket that fits these, and then we'll torque these up, the shafts, bolts, nuts, sorry. Right, I'll just knock you off for a sec, find the right socket and I'll come back. Right, I've locked the shafts and we'll tighten these nuts up, and the torque setting for these is 75 Newton meters. I'll just get them both nipped up first. Right, that's your trapdoor lock bolts, lock nuts tightened up. Gear cluster in. Disengage the gear, and you can rotate it all freely. Right, so that's it for now. I'll knock you off and come back later.